Testing 1, 2, 3. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse, 24th of November of October. And you know what that means. It's 1 week to Halloween. Now, maybe you don't like spooks and ghouls and ghoulies, but we do. And this time next week, I think next Wednesday, in fact, we are going to be having our Halloween special. And this is the thumbnail from, I think, about 2, if not 3 years ago. The Crypto Scarehouse Halloween special. We are going to be having a very special night next Wednesday, and you are all invited. Whether you are watching on Binance Square or other places, you are all welcome. So that's next Wednesday. But before that, we have a lot of sleeps to go. We've got a lot to talk about today. Some breaking news. We're going to talk about CZ. We're going to talk about Peter Schiff. We're going to talk about triple bottoms. And I like nothing more than a really good bottom. Well, I'm going to tell you about a triple bottom. We are also going to be talking about Willy Woo. And I think Willy Woo, Halloween season, it goes quite well because there's an old term, giving you the willies. And I think Willy Woo is just that man. We're going to be talking about the Meteora airdrop, especially if Solo Sky is in chat. He is a massive Dupe fan. And then we're going to be talking about Aave acquiring another project. We have X-Files. We're going to look at the charts. I've got a lot to get through, so we're going to get into it. But before I do, if you are an OG of the channel, we are going to put up 2 videos today. One about when I think the market is going to finish. Where do we go? How long do we have left? I've got a video about that. And secondly, I have a video about my eye operation, which is coming up next month. So if you're an OG or you're watching this back and you're an OG, make sure to go and check out the 2 OG videos that I'm doing, just so you can keep in the loop of what is going on. And I'm not going to waste any time because we have too much to talk about. In fact, I haven't even changed the title of this stream now for about a week. And that's because I am still of the opinion that we go to 100k or we moon. Now, there's a lot of things coming up that can push us in either direction. And I don't have a crystal ball. But what I do have is an inkling that the CPI data, which comes out today, I also have an inkling that the Z-Trump summit, if you want to call it that, that's going to have a bearing. But either way, no matter what that does to the market, we don't have long left. And depending on who you listen to, they will tell you we've got 5 weeks left, they will tell you we've got 15 weeks left, or they'll tell you that we've already topped out. And I am of the opinion that we have about 9 weeks left. So I sit in the middle. I think the end of December, if we haven't done anything by the end of December, we pack up and go home. That's it. We pack up and go home. We start doing cat quizzes. We start doing dog quizzes. We start doing world record quizzes. We pack it all up because if we don't pump between now and the end of December, it isn't going to happen because we're not going to pump next year. If we do, it's the first week. But we're not going to be pumping into March, April, May, June next year. I don't think that is on the cards. Now, markets are preparing for the CPI data, which I think comes out in about, 4 or 5 hours from now. Bitcoin's at 111,000. Ethereum's just under 4,000. BNB is doing well. XRP is doing well. Solana is doing well. And if you're wondering why I'm saying they're doing well after they've come all the way down, to be at these prices, if we are going to pump, is a good platform for where we're going to go to. Now, if XRP was at 40 cents today, I'd be a lot more worried than I am now. But if I'm talking about a target of $5 to $7 for the end of the bull run, 245 is absolutely fine. Solana going to $500 or $600 or $700 from where we are now, I think is achievable. Dogecoin, never talk about Dogecoin. It's a crap coin. Won't ever touch that. Tron, again, that's not far off all-time highs as it is. Cardano has 2 safe spaces. We talk about this all the time, 60 and 80 cents. That can go to $3 to $5 from where it is now because the market cap's only 23 billion. Hype at $40 is still, for that type of project, a very cheap price. Chainlink, all of these projects are well positioned. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. What we want to happen and what will happen are two entirely different things. If we wanted something to happen, then I would want Bitcoin to be $1 million. But what I want and what I get are two different things. This isn't Christmas. So I think that if we do have the 7, 8, 9 weeks that we are potentially going to have, those coins are well positioned for the end of the bull run. And that's the most important thing, because I can take you further down to look at other coins and tell you they will not go to all-time highs. Kronos at 14.5 cents is not going to go anywhere near $1. Okay, even though I'm a massive fan of the project, I've got 60, 70 cents for that token. That's it. We can look at Polkadot. Polkadot ran over, what, $20, $25 in the previous bull run, even higher. It's at $3. It's dead. It's likely to go the way of Cadena, I think it was this week, that has died. You can go further down and look at some of these projects, which are newer projects. So World Liberty Finance, that doesn't have to run very hard and very fast to get to a new all-time high. Forget the initial pump. It's been as low as, I think, 8, 9 cents. It's been at about 15 to 20 cents. It's been at 25 to 30 cents. It's well positioned. So there's a lot of coins in here which I think are prepared for a bull run. They're prepared for the bull run. Gainers over the last 24 hours. World Liberty Financial is up. Pump is up. Asta is up. ASI is up. Somebody asked me in chat. No, actually, somebody didn't ask me in chat. Somebody messaged me. Mags messaged me yesterday and said, what do I think about ASI? And I think the same thing about ASI that I thought about ASI when I was buying it a year and a half ago. And that is, as a project that's going to generate revenue, be in the AI field, I think the merger was the best thing they could do. They absolutely ruined the way that those coins were distributed. So you had all of the 3 different projects combining. I've said this bit before. They've made a real mess of how they combined the projects. Utter mess. But that shouldn't detract from what they are going to achieve. So, is 27 cents on my bingo card for FET by the end of this bull run? No, I've still got $5. It should be $2 right now. It should be $1.50, $2 right now. It's nowhere near it. The market is not happy with how they combined, and maybe they're looking at shinier AI projects. Maybe they are, but the fundamentals of ASI is actually pretty good, and that's why I've liked ASI for 3 years. I've liked them since they were FET, which was about 3 years ago when we started streaming about this stuff. Other gainers, Morpho is up there, Plasma is up there, but again, these aren't massive gains. These aren't even retracing to the prices that they were at before the Black Swan event. So it's nice to see them pump, and they are the bouncers, but let's not forget they've got a long way to go back to where they were. Losers, Tron, Floki is down, and not really an awful lot less. Gold is down a little bit, but gold was always going to come down from that. I mean, gold at one point was going parabolic, and I thought Peter Schiff was actually going to have a heart attack. I thought we were not going to see Peter Schiff much longer. He's waited 400 years for gold to do that. 400 years, okay? How can he be 400 years? Because he's clearly a vampire, right? The man has been in gold since about 1902. And he got his day in the sun. And he's so cocky that we're going to talk about it in a minute, actually. It's one of the X-Files. Let's get on to the X-Files. We're going to talk about, I think somebody has actually put up the tweet about it. Him and CZ are going to go head-to-head to discuss gold, digital gold versus Bitcoin. Now, James Wynn, I don't believe he's a real person. I think he's a psyop. I don't think he exists. I've just been liquidated for $100 million. I was a bear, and then green owly candles got me. Please show me some love and respect. I've lost everything. Win. I don't believe him. And you shouldn't be sending anybody like this money. I don't believe he's a gambler. I don't believe anything that comes out of his mouth at all. In fact, I blocked him for so long that he's become a meme. And his meme is James Wynn has been liquidated again. And that's his meme. He's become a meme. And he's doing it in public. And I just don't believe he's a real person. But listen, that's what happens with leverage. You lose your money. Don't buy leverage. The markets are very, very, very volatile. Stick to spot. And if you are insistent on using leverage, 3, 5x. Don't 25, 50, 100x anything. It's crazy. Now, this is actually one chart that I have looked at through different ways. But Dan Crypto Trades put this up yesterday. And this is basically the ETF accumulation chart. Now, I know what your charts look like. I know what your portfolio looks like. But this is the only thing that matters. And that is institutional adoption of Bitcoin. That's ETF Bitcoin. That's retail buying via ETFs. That's institutions buying via ETFs. This is as bullish a chart as I can show you. It's pretty much a 30% incline. It's up and to the right. And there are the odd dips. Of course there are. There's dips in everything. It's not going to go up in a straight line. But just look at the growth. And this is a period of just under 2 years. In 2 years, it's become the most profitable BlackRock ETF in their history. It's become the most successful ETF category in history. And it is absolutely outperforming everything else. Everything else in the ETF field, metrics-wise, is being outperformed by Bitcoin. Now, if you are bearish after seeing that chart, I don't know what to tell you. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. If you want to play a get-rich-quick scheme, go on to pump.fun and buy every token, and eventually one of them will come good. Right then, let's move on very quickly. Cardano, ADA is one of the only crypto assets outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum to remain in the top 15 by market cap since launch. Now, this is super important. And this is one of those streams where I say some things that I want you to remember. It's not just a standard stream. Fridays are a lot better for me nowadays because I have a day off on a Thursday. So I've got a lot more energy. The reason you sell your alts this cycle is because most of your alts will not exist next cycle. And that is a hard, horrible truth. Now, this cycle will see more survivors than last cycle. And last cycle saw more survivors than the cycle before because the market is maturing. So the likes of Chainlink, for example, the likes of Solana, the likes of Ethereum, the likes of, if we go a little bit further down, I think Hyperliquid, I think Aster, I think they're all going to survive for the next 4 years. But there's a lot of coins in there that are just not going to make it. And there's going to be some big ones that can fall. And I don't know which ones in particular. But for example, AVAX, Avalanche could explode. It could run out of runway. We talk about elevator pitches on how a project makes money all the time. And this is the best example that you can see of what the problems are with crypto projects. They are speculative by nature. And that's the problem. You can go out and say to me, I have just bought 50 $10 million market cap projects and they're all going to 1000x. And I guarantee you 45 of them won't exist in 4 years' time. They'll have run out of money. And I have my concerns over some projects that I really, really love that I'm not going to say on here. But there are some projects that I think are great and I just think they're going to run out of money. And if you can't make money, if you don't have eyes on you, you are finished. It's as simple as that. You can have the nicest restaurant in the world, but if it's built in the middle of nowhere and nobody visits you and you don't advertise it and you can't pay your staff, you've got to close your doors. And this shows it. In 8 years, Cardano is one of the only crypto assets to survive. Bear that in mind when you think that your altcoins are just going to live forever, because they are not going to live forever. They are going to die or merge. That's the other option that some of these projects have got. A lot of the projects that were on Kadena, they're not going to die. They're going to move chain. Look at Helium. Helium was, I think, its own layer 2 or its own layer 1. It knew what was going to happen. It's moved to Solana. That was the right thing for it to do at the time. Now, one project that is certainly going to be here for the foreseeable future. Oh, I've still got a few things open that I shouldn't have open. There we go. Is Maple. Maple has gone live on Aave, on the Plasma arm of Aave, and they had $150 million worth of capacity, and unfortunately, it was filled in minutes. Now, it's not the first time this has happened. They went live on the Plasma chain a month and a half ago, and guess what? It was sold out in 90 seconds, 60 seconds. The demand for fiat-style returns is there. Now, Syrup USDC is not a stable coin. It is a yield-bearing dollar asset, something along those lines. It's not a stable coin. It doesn't fall under the Genius Act, but it can operate on Plasma, which is a stablecoin blockchain. It can operate within the Aave ecosystem, and you can pair it up with other stablecoins, and it's paying 7.4%. So Maple went live on Aave. I'm going to make a specific video about this. I don't make Maple videos anymore because I live stream all of the updates on YouTube and Binance because they do so much. So this is a big move. If you don't know anything about this project, you want to go and have a look at the token. It's called Syrup. Syrup is probably down about 50% from its all-time high, as are most coins. I do hold Syrup. I will tell you if I hold a coin. I don't hold Aave, but I do hold Syrup. Now, this is not necessarily crypto related, but this is to do with people using sports betting apps. And the reason I bring this up is there's a lot of talk at the minute about predictions markets. Polymarket being the biggest one. Polymarket is now powering, I think Solana has got its own predictions market. I'm sure that they're everywhere. The issue here is to do with match rigging. And the bigger the stakes, the bigger the chances of rigging matches, and the more people will get paid. There's documentaries upon documentaries about this, and basketball is one of the biggest ones. Horse racing is another. They can rig the race. If somebody pays an NBA player $500,000 to not score a point in a game, I bet you any money he won't score a point in a game. And the issue is that this is now being investigated by these people. These people are the people in suits that stand in front of flags and talk into microphones and have the pictures taken, and they will send you to prison because they are the authorities. And there's loads of them. And Kash Patel, who I don't know about Kash. Sometimes I look at him and I think he looks like a comedian. Other times I look at him and I think I wouldn't mess with him. And I suppose it depends who he's talking to. But the FBI are basically going to come down on the NBA like a bag of bricks and just crush them for stuff like this. And there's loads and loads of examples. It's been going on for years. And the reason I bring this up is there are a lot of people who like to play predictions markets. Let's make no bones about it. Predictions markets are betting. It's betting, okay? It's not just because it's called a predictions market, it's still a bet. If you try and predict the score of a football match and you say Man United will win 2-1, it's a bet. It's not a predictions market. Now, of course, we work with somebody who won't mention the name of because we're on Binance, but the point of the matter is, call a spade a spade. It's a big expression from where I am, and that's basically call things how they are. And I don't have a problem with betting at all. I bet on the Grand National. I bet on the FA Cup final. I do like the odd bet. But don't call it a predictions market to get around rules in certain countries. It's disingenuous. And don't bet on specific sports where there's clear market manipulation going on. Finally, Crypto Jeb. How many times have I shown you these kind of things? So basically, this is somebody who has paired Bitcoin against gold. Now, do I believe this? No. Do I believe the money supply, Bitcoin lag? No. I don't believe that there's any one particular chart that is going to show you exactly what's going to happen. Everything, whether it be stocks, shares, gold, crypto, commodities, they are all intertwined. You can't pick one thing out and say that is the indicator that shows you where Bitcoin is going to go. We had this last week with Ben Cowan. Ben Cowan was saying that the 4-year cycle never existed, and it's based on the stock market. It's based on the stock market versus the elections. And that wasn't my take on it. My take on it is this: there are cycles, and there are cycles in economies, there are cycles in maths, there are cycles in nature. And just because Satoshi, when he created Bitcoin, or the group that created Bitcoin, if you listen to Tucker Carlson, was it the CIA created Bitcoin according to Tucker Carlson, which again makes no sense. Everything's a cycle. You have to appreciate that. I'm sure Satoshi realized everything was a cycle. Boom and bust. Stock markets, housing markets, everything else. So you can't then pick another cycle and say that's what Bitcoin's based on, because gold has its own cycle. Stocks, Bitcoin, everything has its own cycle. And although I like them and they're nice and whatever, it doesn't mean it's true. I am sure you can go out and you can pair two things together and say that is significantly relevant. I'm sure we could say the number of leaves on a tree versus the number of people that go to a nightclub. There's more leaves on a tree in the summer. People go to nightclubs more in the summer because it's warmer. And then in the winter, when the leaves fall off, nobody goes to nightclubs. You could just pull any nonsense out of the air. Now this is box office. Okay? This is box office. I don't normally buy into this kind of stuff. I'm not one for watching pomp or watching, a lot of these people talk. But this is box office. This should be pay-per-view, okay? Take off all of those YouTubers pretending to punch all of those MMA fighters in the head. It's CZ versus Peter Schiff. CZ versus Peter Schiff. We'll talk about CZ in a minute. CZ is going to tie Peter Schiff in knots. And the reason I know this is I've seen Peter Schiff be tied in knots by people with far less knowledge than CZ. So Peter Schiff is maybe a second division player. CZ, although he's not maybe at the scale of Saylor or maybe the Cowans of this world, he's certainly up there in maybe the top 10 crypto people in the world. He is going to take Peter Schiff to the cleaners. Now, what Schiff is doing is creating digital gold. He's creating a digitized version of gold where you buy gold through his product or his company and it will be backed by real gold. Now, newsflash, PAXG has been around for about 6 years, maybe even a little bit longer. You can do that through PAXG. And the thing with PAXG is if you buy it through them, they will actually send you a photograph of your gold. So he's not invented anything. And Eric Balchunas said, great, you've created an ETF. Well, technically it is an ETF because you're buying shares in a company that holds physical gold. You're buying digital shares in a company that holds real gold. There's no difference. So he's coming out pretending to the big I am. And the thing about this is he's doing it for attention. He's doing it for eyes. And he's very good at it. Don't get me wrong. I don't dislike him. He is comparing gold to Bitcoin to get the eyes of Bitcoin people on his gold. That's what he's doing. And fair play to him. Fair play to him. He does irritate me, though, because every time Bitcoin does drop a tiny little bit, he is all over it. Even though Bitcoin is up multiples against gold, I don't go with that. I mean, what did it drop? Gold had its largest drop in 14 years this week. Disappeared. Now, CZ receives pardon from President Trump. We don't need to read too much about this because it's not that deep. CZ is one of the sentence or the what he went to prison for. It's like Marmite. You either agree with it or you don't agree with it. It's very divisive, and I'm not going to go into the wares of it, but I am going to give you my opinion because that's what you're here for. I'm never going to sit on the fence on a lot of things, and you can agree with me or disagree with me, and I will honour your opinion as long as you honour my opinion, and that's what we're here for. You can disagree with me in chat or agree with me. It's up to you. Basically, Binance US didn't have the correct anti-money laundering processes in place. The KML system wasn't correct, and he came to a plea deal, and I think he did 3 or 4 months in prison and came out. And that's now been expunged from his record by Trump based on the fact that Trump has been told by so many people in his inner circle that CZ was innocent, and it was actually a political move to put him in prison. And again, I'm not getting into that, I'm just telling you the facts. And then as he came out, Trump basically said, he shouldn't be there, whatever it might be. Now, again, I have a list of, if I just show you something very quickly, I had a list of predictions for 2025, which I produced in January this year. And I'm going to show them to you now because I think it's important that you see what my predictions were. And that was my argument about CZ getting out the Return of the King, but this is the one down here. Now, of course, CZ is not on here. $150,000 Bitcoin in November 2025 is my target. That was at the start of this year. The next ETF is Litecoin. We haven't seen one yet. We've got Bitcoin and Ethereum. We don't have another one yet, and my prediction was Litecoin. And the reason I picked Litecoin is it's exactly the same as Bitcoin, so it's proof of work, etc. Profit, not speculation, is to do with the fact that people are going to start looking at investing in projects that make a profit and not speculation. That's pretty much come true. Trump Reserve expanded. That was talking about the strategic Bitcoin reserve. That actually was going to happen, and then it was again trampled upon. I said that Trump was going to expand the strategic Bitcoin reserve into having other assets, and what he's actually done is he's kept the strategic Bitcoin reserve and he's created his own ETF, if you've noticed, the Trump Media ETF. So I'm kind of claiming victory on that one. And there's my last one. SBF pardoned and released. The reason I didn't put CZ in this is, of course, CZ only went to prison for 3 or 4 months. I believe that SBF by the end of this year will be pardoned. Believe that as you will. So, great news for CZ. He's got his pardon. He's now going to help Trump in Trump's campaign to drive adoption in America of crypto, which is a good thing. And I think it's the right thing. In my opinion, I think it's the right thing. I think going to prison and having a plea bargain and paying the $4.3 billion fine, I think that was the Gary Gensler way of doing things. I don't think he should have gone to prison for what he did. Having a little bit of a dodgy AML or KYC policy in place, it happens in every gaming company. You know, where we are at the minute, gaming companies here are fined, not individual ones, but across the board. There may be 3 or 4 fines a year issued just in this jurisdiction. Then the UK does the same. So this is a common thing, and it basically means you are not keeping your records up to date, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, the other. So for me, he should never have gone to prison. Should he have paid a fine? Yes, of course he should, because they pay the fines here as well. You've got to treat people fairly, a level playing field. Should it be $4.3 billion? Maybe. I don't know to what extent it was, but $4.3 billion, maybe. But he should never have gone to prison, in my opinion. Other people should be in prison who are not. He shouldn't be. Now, you know, the one thing I haven't done today is I haven't said hello to anybody in chat. And I know Villain Bear is watching. Good morning. KB is here. Hidden Agendas is here. Tariq is here. The Goat is here. Solo Sky is here. Hyperliquid is giving good comeback vibes. Yes, Hyperliquid is. I think there's a lot of coins that are going to give good comeback vibes. If we're going to have the bull run that we expect. Now, Ethereum triple bottom sets up a hint at a 4,000 breakout next. Again, we're now at, what, 3,900. We're not far off 4,000. I think the hard thing to explain in a cycle is Bitcoin pumps and your alts don't. Bitcoin drops and your alts get wrecked. And that cycle goes on for quite some time. And the reason is, at the end of the day, it's Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is 2/3 of crypto, 60% of crypto. And your alts are not going to pump until Bitcoin has had its fill. And there's no other way of looking at it than that. You're going to get outliers. You're going to get the likes of Hyperliquid and Asta, which rip 10,000% in a week. Of course you are. New projects, of course you are. But on the whole, your bags aren't going to pump until Bitcoin has. So when we talk about ETH going above $4,000 again, you're talking about a 3% move. You're not talking about a 20, 40, 50, 60% move. We're going to go up for $4,000 again. Probably, if Bitcoin can hold where we are, break above 113,000, stick at 114 or 115,000 for a while, then Ethereum is going to go over $4,000. What does tend to happen is when Bitcoin moves up a little bit and then has a rest, alts do gain some ground. But they don't always gain all of the ground back that they just lost. So Ethereum, we were talking about a $4,500, $4,400 Ethereum. Now we're talking about going back above 4,000 as being a good move. So you've got to take things into context. I think we're going to go back above $4,000 on Ethereum if Bitcoin holds and moves back up. Bitcoin's got a break above the top of the bull market support band. That is all that matters. But if we do that, and the CPI data is coming out today, which means volatility today, then we're going to see a $4,100 Ethereum next Monday when we stream. Simple as that. Again, we did triple bottom. I think Ben Cowan might have talked about this a few days ago as well. He was talking about sweeping the lows before moving on to highs. He's got his own targets for Ethereum. His targets aren't too far away from my targets, and that's good because he does a lot more analysis than I do. But we have had a triple bottom on Ethereum, and that's pretty bullish for me. And again, we've backed Ethereum from day one when it was, what did we go down to? $600 or $800? We've backed Ethereum. If you've got giants building their future of CeDeFi, or whatever you want to call it, on Ethereum, then you have to take Ethereum seriously. And that's what they're doing. They're building exchanges. They're building BlackRock exchanges. They're building exchanges. They're changing the laws in America to allow for 24/7 trading. Why are they doing that? Why does CME have 24/7 365 trading on the horizon? Because it's all going to be tokenized. It's all coming on chain. And where is it going to come on chain to? Ethereum. So you can say what you want about Ethereum and Vitalik, but it's not going to go anywhere. Now maybe it goes live, and maybe it just collapses in on itself. Maybe there's a singularity and it just vanishes, okay? And then they have to go and move it to maybe Solana. That's a different story, a different conversation. Right here, right now, Ethereum is the blockchain of choice for TradFi. And you can't simply say it's going to go down to zero when TradFi come into Ethereum, because they'll just buy all the tokens. They'll buy all of the Ethereum. So I am very happy to think that Ethereum is going to go back above $4,000. As I've said before, I think my current target for Ethereum is probably 7,000 to 9,000, 6,000 to 8,000, 7,000 to 9,000, around that range. For me, I think the people I've seen, some people say 10, some people say 7.5, some people say 7. So it's in that ballpark. Don't listen to Tom tell you it's going to go to $60,000. Now, this is the deeper article about the conversation that they're going to have. Gold is the only thing that makes sense to put on a blockchain, while critics say trust, not code, still rules. Gold-backed tokens are growing fast, topping 4 billion in value. This is the conversation. The system is a way to carry all of your gold around on your phone. I mean, I get this. This is exactly what I would do. The biggest argument against gold is you can't go anywhere with it. If you've got $10 million worth of gold, how do you get on a plane? How do you get on a boat? How do you cross borders with $10 million worth of gold? You can't. It's too heavy. It just weighs. It weighs as much as gold weighs. It's gold, of course. So Schiff will always lose the argument when we talk about transferability. Now, the biggest argument in Bitcoin's corner is that you can send $10 million in 5 seconds. That's its biggest win. Whereas gold, its biggest weakness is you can't move it. So bringing gold online negates the argument for Bitcoin and wins the argument in Peter Schiff's eyes for Peter Schiff. So if you can carry your gold around in your phone, then the Bitcoin argument is dead, because gold is so many hundred years old. Gold is still going to be a store of value. It still ticks a lot of the boxes on what money is, and they're going to go head to head. And I think this is absolutely brilliant. I can't wait for this. We're not going to talk too much about that because we've had a lot of chat today about this. We're going to go and talk a little bit about Solana, which we haven't really covered an awful lot. But we've got 2 articles on Solana. We're going to talk about this one, and then we're going to talk about Meteora. And Meteora is a really interesting airdrop. because it's not worked how I thought it was going to work. But we'll get to that in a second. Fidelity opens door to Solana, making Sol available to clients. The addition of Sol comes amongst growing institutional interest in the Solana network as the community positions it as the hub of internet capital markets. Give me 1 second. We might be getting a delivery, which is always going to interrupt the stream. So Fidelity now allow people to buy Solana. The addition of Solana is a continuation of Fidelity's decade-plus efforts to develop the infrastructure, products and education resources for digital assets consistent with the solutions we provide for traditional asset classes. Now, what I like about banks and financial institutions is the fact that they will call crypto scammy, all kinds of things. And then one day they will turn around and they will say, in true Trump fashion, we have always been the biggest advocate for crypto. We've been there since the beginning. We had meetings with Satoshi about bringing Bitcoin to Fidelity. We wrote the white paper with Satoshi Nakamoto. We are the Bitcoin bros. And they've got a little Bitcoin necklace on that they bought off Michael Saylor's website. And we're here for you, and we're always going to educate you about crypto. And those people who've been in crypto for more than 2 or 3 years, I just want to stare at them open mouthed like, what are you talking about? And they just come out with this utter BS. Yeah, we've always been here for you. You don't let us buy crypto. You don't let us transfer funds to Binance. You blacklist the account. You've blacklisted Binance. You say that there's a monthly limit on what you can do with your money. And then you turn around and say, oh yeah, but we've always been behind crypto. What? You've been behind crypto with a gun to its head. It's not being behind it. So again, this kind of stuff is great. Don't get me wrong. It's great for adoption. It's great for bringing retail in. All of that stuff is fantastic. But you have to bite your lips when they say stuff like this, because BlackRock are going to do the same thing. Goldman Sachs are going to do the same thing. Look at Vanguard. Vanguard, no, we are not doing crypto. Crypto, nah, not doing that. Rubbish. What a lot of crap, right? And then Bitcoin and the ETFs associated with Bitcoin went on the most parabolic run in the history of ETFs. And now Vanguard are going to turn around and say, guess what, customers? We've got your best interests at heart. We are the Bitcoin #1 advocate in TradFi. Let's all celebrate this by launching all of those products on our platform. And all of the little Vanguard retail were like, woo! And we're like, you were calling it garbage a year ago. What's going on? So again, we have to we have to be like a beach with the tide coming in. We just have to lay there and let it wash over us. Okay? Just go with the tide. Deep breaths, go with the tide. Wait for the Litecoin ETF to go live, and then we can celebrate and get out of our Litecoin positions like Tariq wants to do. And then just take it from there. Right, let's move on. Again. Where are we? Bitcoin to the moon today or tomorrow. I would say that is the symbolic today or tomorrow. I think we're going to go to the moon with Bitcoin over a very prolonged period of time. Absolutely. Now, Willy Woo projects next crypto doom, cites global business cycle, says Willy Woo. Now, I think Willy Woo and Rich Dad Poor Dad are two of the biggest, I can't say the word, but they're two of the biggest doom merchants there are. And what they do is, there is a really simple way to get you to watch videos or get you to watch content. And it's based around 3 or 4 things. Number 1 is fear. Number 2 is greed. Number 3 is curiosity. And then there's a 4th one, which is irrelevant. So if I want to make you a video, I would say, you will not believe my price target for Bitcoin. Number 1. Number 2. Bitcoin is going to crash to this price. You need to watch this now. That's number 2. And number 3, I am so bullish on Bitcoin, it's going to go to a price that you can't even imagine. That's number 3. And that sums up every call you watch. They fall into one of those 3 categories, okay? And they do it because it's a playbook. And they all follow the same playbook. And they're either perma bulls or perma bears. and they know exactly what they're doing. And Willy Woo and Rich Dad Poor Dad sell you what they want you to buy based on scaring the wits out of you on everything else, okay? I've been on this planet a very long time. We've had 2 really, really big crashes. When I was about 18, which is 34 years ago, I think it was 18, maybe I was 17. But anyway, we had Black Wednesday. The world was coming to an end. 2008, was it 2008, 2007? We had the subprime mortgage crash. That brought the entire world to its knees. The world was going to end. Everything was going to be finished. And guess what? We're still here. This is fear. And it needs to be ignored. It doesn't mean that some of these things are not going to come to pass, but it's not the end of everything. Do you remember when Trump brought the tariffs out and he stood there with his placard that looked like an ice cream board at Scarborough Fair? 99's $1.99, without a flake, 99 cents. It was like that. And everyone's like, he's ruining the global economy. The economy is going to zero. We're going to have to pay $50,000 for an iPhone. Or my burger is going to cost me $75. Did any of that happen? No. Because of these people, you remember those headlines. It's never as bad. They catastrophize the future. That's such a good title for something, isn't it? Catastrophizing the future. That's what they do. Don't believe them. However, he is telling you that we are going to see a bear market, which is fine. They come. So do bull markets. They also come. We've had 2 4-year cycles superimposed. Now it's only one. Global M2 liquidity. Oh, he's off about the money supply again, isn't he? The next bear will be defined by another cycle. People forget about it. The business cycle. The last biz cycle downturns that really took hold were 2008 and 2001. Before crypto markets were invented, the 2 cycles, the halving and the global M2 money. Central banks inject M2 debasement in a 4-year cycles, both superimposed. I don't know what language you're speaking there. So we've got the 2001 dot-com bubble. I mean, now, just to put that into context, I don't even remember that one. And that's when we were building our business. My first crypto business, we started in 2001. And we had the idea in 1999. I can't believe we had the first internet business idea a century ago. 1999, we had our first idea. We went full-time in 2002, but we were building it in 2001 as it was crashing. Now, the bubble is nowhere near the size of the crypto market we're in now. Everybody makes this dot-com bubble out to be a big thing. It really wasn't. It wasn't nowhere near. Well, what did it impact? Basically, you had 50,000 companies, 50,000 startups all trying to work. And the majority of them had 2 or 3 years worth of runway, and they all shut at the same time because they ran out of money. But it didn't cost the market billions and billions and billions and billions and billions. It just crashed the market because all of these companies were going bust. So I would not take this onto... I would take that with a pinch of salt. The 2008, however, that was absolutely vast. And again, we just worked through it because it didn't affect us at the time. So also don't forget, those things happen in a very short space of time. When this happens again, next year, the year after, it won't last 3, 4, 5 years. It's normally, and I don't know the exact numbers, a 3 to 6 month, maybe even 6 weeks, 8 weeks crash. And then all of the leaders will come out, and what they're going to do is very simple. They are just going to throw money at it. That's what they did in 2008. They threw money at it. That's what they did on Black Wednesday back in whenever it was, 1993, 1992. They threw money at it. That's what they do. They throw money at things. And that money papers over the cracks. And that's what's going to happen again. Look at COVID. What did we do to solve COVID? We printed money. It's the default. Print money. What's the problem? Banks are going out of business. Give them more money. What's the problem? People can't work because they've got to stay inside. Give them money. The solution, in their eyes, is always to give people money. And that is what's going to happen. So don't believe stuff like this. Don't let it worry you. Don't fret about it. It's not something to worry about. It just really isn't. It's not a real issue. It's a fabricated prediction of the worst possible future. The same, may I add, with certain elements of the climate industry. Now then, moving very quickly on, Trump team wallets amongst the top 5 Meteora airdrop recipients. Now, I want to talk about this airdrop because I know a lot of you hold dupe and have it staked. You all now, who've got dupe staked, you all now have a Meteora position on Meteora. Now, I can't bring it up on here because I don't know how much you're going to see of my wallet and stuff like that. But basically, you are given a position on the Met USDC pool on Meteora. And what it does is it pays you fees. So I was expecting this pool to basically accumulate in value, but it doesn't. So when you go and get your Meteora claim, and you can go through dupe, you click on the Meteora link, and it will take you to your position, and you will have a button to claim your fees. Now, I think we had 173 Met. I don't know what that is now. It's probably about $120. And I've claimed about $6 worth of USDC off that in 2 days. And obviously it's going to be higher because of the transactions and stuff like that. But you can sell that position today. So Solo Sky, Tariq, whoever else has got a dupe position, you can go to Meteora, you can sell it by all means. But I'm not going to sell it because it's only $100 and I'm going to leave it there and see what happens to it in the future. But the Trump team have one of the top 5 airdrops. Now, the other thing that I want to mention, which is not slighting them in any way, shape or form, but the team that helped launch the Trump token, the team that launched the Melania token, have a guess who they were. Right. Oops. That's right. That team there. They were the ones that helped launch those 2 rug pulls in January. And, of course, we know what happened after that. So, of course, the Trump team are going to get an awful lot of the tokens because I'm sure they came to a deal with Meteora way back when to deal with this. And Meteora are, of course, tied with dupe because Meow and the CEO or the ex-CEO of Meteora were both very, very good friends. So it's a very small world when you get to that level, but just say that this is not a surprise that Trump get an awful lot of the airdrop because they use Meteora to launch their 2 pump and dumps. There you go. Little fact for you of the day. Now, how long do we have left? 13 whole minutes. Good morning, Bullish Bull. I don't nearly look as old as you know what? I've had a very healthy life, I think, considering what I did to myself in my 20s, which would make your hair go white. I've had a very healthy life. I went to the doctor on Tuesday. I went to the doctor on Tuesday about my eye operation, and he said to me, "I'm trying to look at your records, but you don't have any." I went, "Yeah." He said, "Normally, people at your age will have 1 or 2 pages of records of things that's happened to them over the last, 20, 30 years. You haven't had a single thing." And I'm like, yep. So I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm not doing anything in particular. I eat too much crap food. I eat too many crisps. I probably drink too much crap, although I do drink a lot of water and coffee. And luckily, touch wood, I am in reasonably good health apart from my eyes. So yeah, I think I did so many bad things in my 20s that when I hit 30, I went, I'm not doing this anymore. This is it, game over. So maybe it's something to do with that. But anyway, I am going reasonably quickly through the stream today because I want to get to the end and talk about a few things as well. And I want to do it in an hour. And as you know, we always try and do our streams in an hour because think of this, it might be an hour of my time that we're here, but if we've got 20, 30, 40, 50 people watching, that's like 50 hours worth of humanity being consumed by this one stream. And I think that's quite a lot. Anyway, Aave expands customer DeFi footprint with stable finance acquisition. Now, we talked about Aave before. Syrup USDT or USDC, that's gone live on Aave. They are, of course, to do with Maple. If you look in the bottom corner of our stream, one thing that I don't point out enough, these are some of the sponsors of our platform. We have WolfSwap, we have Mew, we have Maple, we have others. But I've only got those 3 on there because any smaller and they're not going to fit. So Aave is not a sponsor, but Maple is. Anyway, so they have bought another institution. We've also got the mention here about Horizon, Real World Assets, and Maple Finance. That's also on here. So they're based in San Francisco. Stable Finance has been acquired by Aave Labs, the developer behind the Aave lending ecosystem, as the firm expands into consumer-facing on-chain services. Founded in 2023, Stable Finance mobile app allows users to deposit funds from bank accounts, cards, or crypto wallets to earn yield on stablecoins through over-collateralized, decentralized markets. Now, do you remember last week I was talking about Maple Finance adding Syrup USDC to an app? I don't know if you remember it because I think it was only a tweet. And I said, this is a really interesting move. And the reason is, and I'm not talking about Maple here, I'm talking about Aave. If you have the Genius Act, it stops Tether and Circle and PayPal and World Liberty Finance. It stops them from offering a yield on their stablecoin because the banking industry in America is trying to protect itself from this. Because very simply put, Tether tomorrow could offer 4% yield and it would ruin the banking industry. Circle could do the same. Other exchanges could do the same. Ruin the industry, ruin the banking system in America, drain it of its liquidity. So the Genius Act, although it's good for stablecoins, it's good for regulation, it also is very protectionalist. Now, what and how do people tap into a yield that is safe? And when I mean safe, I mean it's not in Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana. Well, what you do is you have, as it says down here, where does it say it? Here we go. So what this app does that they've just bought allows people to deposit from their bank accounts or crypto wallets to earn yield on stablecoins through over-collateralized, decentralized markets. So look at all the different players. You have Maple Finance and its Syrup USDC product. You will say have another 2 or 3 of those products. You then add them to an app and they are not classified as stablecoins, even though there is a dollar base, call it a dollar base line. And you come along and you say, but that Syrup USDC, that's worth $1.13. And you say, yeah, because it's a dollar yielding asset. It's not a stable coin. So you buy it at $1.13, and then this time next year it's worth $1.21. So you've got your 6 or 7% yield on it. The consumer can be shown using UIs. It can be shown different things. So you could just say 6.7%. You add your $100 to it, and then the balance shows as $106.70. So it's just how it's wrapped up. Now, Aave are big. They are the giant, and that's who you want to be partnered with. So buying this app and then partnering with Maple Finance having just launched their product with another app of a similar nature, it's not difficult to see how some of these apps are going to explode. And it's going to explode because even though the Genius Act protects stablecoins from offering this yield, it doesn't stop dollar yielding assets from paying you 5 or 6 or 7%. So maybe not this particular app, maybe not Revolut, maybe not Robinhood, maybe not one of those in particular, but maybe a few of them suddenly on board 100 million people, and then suddenly stablecoins and dollar yielding assets and all of those things are all providing them with a yield 10 times what they're going to get from their bank. And in the middle are people like Aave. So, do I hold Aave? No, I don't hold Aave. Do I think Aave are going to see out any future bear market? Yes. Do I think Aave are going to be here in 4 years' time? Yes. This isn't one of the projects I was talking about before saying it's not going to be here in 4 years' time. I think Aave will. I think Morpho will. Maybe Pendle will be. Certainly the likes of Maple are going to be here, because think of it this way. If you've got hundreds or thousands of Bitcoin and you want to tap into the liquidity held in that Bitcoin, you need to borrow money, because you don't want to sell your Bitcoin because you know it's pristine, and then you have to borrow. There's only one place to borrow from in crypto at the minute, and that's Maple Finance. So you have TradFi using Maple Finance to borrow. Maple Finance and Aave and other companies like Aave are combining, and then retail at the other end are holding Syrup, for example, and earning 6%. So you have the entire ecosystem mapped out: institutions, lending, DeFi platform, retail. It's perfect, and it is frictionless. And that's one of the things, the most important thing, that retail need to get into it. Because at the minute, if I said to somebody, go and buy some flobbity jobs off Solana, they're going to have to go and get themselves a wallet. They're going to have to go and figure out how to put money on that wallet. They're going to have to go and find a platform somewhere to go and buy it from. They're going to have to go and buy it, and they're going to have to connect the wallet to it. They're going to have to buy it. It's going to be in the wallet. It might not be a listed coin, so it doesn't appear in their wallet. It's horrific. I open up my phone. I go, buy Maple 6.5%. Done. And I'm earning 6.5%, 6%. And then I go to all of my mates in the pub. How much interest are you in on your bank? Oh, 0.15%. I get 6% on mine. And suddenly you have an entire pub of people downloading one of these apps. And that's how it's going to work. And maybe stablecoins, after all this time of talking about metaverses and games and all of these things, maybe it's stablecoins that drive adoption. Maybe it is. Anyway, I'm going to close that down for now, and then we're going to go to full screen. I'm the cool dad you can only dream about. I am sure if you asked the Oracle if I was a cool dad, I'm absolutely certain he would say no. That is not the case. Right, we are 11:56, which means we've got some time to talk. 3 minutes. So, tomorrow I am going to do the Maple Finance crash stream that I did last Saturday that didn't work on Binance Square. It worked on YouTube. So I'm going to redo the same stream that I did last week, but I'm only going to do it on Binance Square. There's no point in me streaming on YouTube. It's already there. If you want to watch it in advance, go and watch the YouTube stream from last week. But Binance Square tomorrow, I'm going to be doing exactly the same stream as I did last week, again for Binance Square users. That's number one, and that's Saturday. Sunday, we're not going to be streaming. Saturday night, the Oracle is streaming. Next Wednesday is the Halloween stream. Do you know, I am also the same. I'm in the same boat as you. I was raised by my mum and my grandparents, so yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. And when you become a dad, it will come naturally. That's the most important thing. Don't let anybody tell you how to be a dad. Be your own dad, which sounds a lot like be more dog. But anyway, so next Wednesday is the Halloween special. Now, last Wednesday we had a bit of fun, and I got a lot of comments about last week's stream. And the stream last week was about world records held by cats, which has nothing to do with crypto, I know, but we've done the same Mew quiz 8 months running. So we decided we wanted to do something different. We did cat questions. Everybody absolutely enjoyed it that contacted me. I'm sure people who didn't enjoy it didn't contact me, but a load of people loved it. So on Wednesday, it's a Halloween special. And I've even had some people slide into my DMs trying to get an idea of what the questions are going to be. I'm going to tell you what the questions are going to be. We are going to ask 2025 crypto-related spooky questions. So let me give you an example. One of the questions might be, which one of these is a hot wallet? And the answer would be Phantom, Poltergeist, or Zombie. Okay? Now, That's an example question. It's not going to be in the quiz, but that's the kind of question we're going to be. So they're going to be crypto-related Halloween questions. That's the best way to describe it. We did do last year somewhat of a quiz, which I probably don't have on me, but we did somewhat of a quiz last year, and we did have lots of like zombie, vampire, Dracula type questions in there, and that is what you're going to get. Well, KB, right, so KB went away, okay? He went into the mountains. He became Zen to try and become the ultimate quizmaster. And then he descended from the mountain last Wednesday, knowing everything that there is to know in the universe about crypto. And then we started asking him about cats with the longest hair, cats with the most paws, cats with the longest whiskers. And I know for a fact KB was just staring at the screen with his eyes twitching. So I think he'll do better on Wednesday. I'm going to have to try and think of some very difficult questions. There's some obvious ones. You all know what a zombie chain is. So that's going to have to go in there because it's got the word zombies. And zombies are my favourite Halloween things of all time. But, you know, there's going to be some Halloween things in there that I'm going to have to make trickier for you. But again, who knows? Who knows what we're going to do? We're going to have to do it close to the day as well because some will involve maybe market caps of 13 billion. Might be one. Maybe we talk about people born on Friday the 13th. Maybe. We don't know. Maybe we talk about people in crypto who are born on Halloween. You don't know. We don't know. But these are just some ideas. And it's going to be a bit of fun. And that's the point. It's fun. And if you win, you get a little bit of crypto. Yes, I know. I remember you saying on the stream that you couldn't make it. Well, hopefully next Wednesday you can make it. And it will be fun to see everybody on there. But now, the weekend then, I'm going to be doing the Maple quiz. Sorry, Maple Crash. I'm going to be talking... I'm going to do a Chronos Pulse on Sunday. And then I think that's probably going to be it. I'm going to prepare next week. So not a really busy week for me this week. I do need a little bit of a rest. I need to keep getting some naps as well. I need more naps. That's what I need. When you get to my age, you need naps. I was up, I think 4:30 on Monday, I started work. 3:30 on Tuesday, I started work. 7:10 on Wednesday, I started work. And 8 o'clock yesterday, I started work. So I start early, but then I fade. Come 3 o'clock, come countdown with my tea and biscuits, I'm done for. That's me done. And when we do the Wednesday night streams, genuinely, it's like purgatory for me. Sitting here at 7 o'clock of an evening streaming, it's like my bedtime. So anyway, right, I will be back on Saturday on Binance Square only. I hope to see you all there. You are all wonderful human beings. Don't let anybody tell you any different. But we are at the end of this journey, I think. And maybe the journey lasts another 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, but we're at the end. And the most important thing to think about is, if all of the alts that exist today are in your bags in a year's time, they will be 50, 60, 70% lower than they are today. And think about that as we get towards higher prices, should they come, as we get towards higher prices, think about that and think about dollar cost averaging out. Anyway, I am done. My eyes are starting to go as well. I think I need a nap. Thank you all for coming. It's 12:03. I've overstayed my welcome. Have a great weekend if I don't see you tomorrow. Enjoy yourself and get reading about Halloween-themed things that I could ask you next Wednesday night. Take care.